Everyone, we're live again. So Yash, I have to show you.
Yes.
I have to show you how we connect to a repository,
Yes,
because
please.
we were very, very blind last time. This took all of 3 seconds when I met with Paul afterwards, another colleague of
Oh,
ours,
that's
Paul
amazing.
Yu, and he's like, "Yeah, the labels should have worked, but if they didn't, there's just a box that you click." So let me let me pull that up so everybody can see that.
Because we
And
were
just
like legit, like, oh, it's maybe like a sub namespace and like extra
yeah,
slashes and
maybe
like
it has nothing to do with it at all. Like it doesn't matter. It can be under anything. So here, let me just share.
yeah.
We can both do a Batman face palm right after this. So here, I think
Yes.
this is the right window. So here I am on the repository. We were pushing artifacts up. So these happen to be OCI artifacts that were Docker container images. And what we were trying to do, just so everybody
Uh-huh.
is on the same page here, is we have this. We want this to show up under a repository, not just my profiles package. So if we go to repositories, and
Mhm.
we're trying to attach it to this project right here, Docker wasm time. And see how this one shows up here now, right here.
Hold on. Where is your mouse? Because I'm seeing your profile.
I didn't switch tab. Oh, okay. Thank you for that. So it shared the tab and not the window.
I see.
So let's do window. Now can you see it? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Okay,
that works.
switching now. Okay, all right.
Good.
So you can see this now. Packages.
Yeah.
I want to see how that's done.
Yes, please. Because I
You could.
I had no idea.
We spent 15 minutes after the stream trying to figure it out. Anyway, so if we
That
go
is
into
true.
here, a different package, and we
Yes.
want to associate with the repository, it's right here.
Yes.
It's
Oh.
literally right here. So I was zoomed in because I wanted the font to be bigger, and it cut us off at the icon. If we would have just scrolled one mouse wheel, you can say connect to repository and wasm Docker
Yeah.
connects.
Okay. So there's just literally a big button. Because
Yep.
we jumped into like package settings and like all the different settings, but
Yep.
I'm surprised the UI isn't like repeated there.
Yeah, and then
Or
once
is
it's
it?
associated, it's you can't like unconnect, disconnect. But how you're
Oh.
supposed to do it with the CLI is the labels that we did.
Okay.
I must not have been doing them right. So that's it. I
Ah,
mean, that's probably what they did actually to get the components to show up.
I see.
So
I see.
now if we want to pivot, do we want to start trying to get a WASM component pushed to GHCR?
Yes, we can certainly do that. Oh, by the way, I want to share this with you. Hold
Okay.
on. I DM'd you the like a little linky if you can pull it up.
Yep, no problem.
I'm actually curious about your thoughts on this.
Okay. Let me
The issue is metadata for WASI OCI artifacts. And something I realized, I guess like after a stream,
okay.
is if you go to the under WebAssembly, under the WASI repo, things like WASI HTTP have been uploaded, but they're missing some metadata. And I was like, wait, hold on. Shouldn't we fill that metadata out? Shouldn't that be a thing that we do? And
Okay.
so OCI images have the ability to carry like standard defined metadata that GitHub artifacts integrate with. Yeah, if you go to packages here, just click on any one of them, doesn't matter.
HTTP. Okay.
Yeah. And then go to the version 02, the actual tagged image. Yeah,
Okay.
there. And then you'll see like no description provided.
Okay.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, hey, if you build they don't quite explain it, but if you build an OCI image, like in your JSON, you can add this like annotations key that
Mm-hmm.
has like multiple subkeys where you can do org.opencontainers.image.description and like fill in the description there. And see, I was thinking if you fill that out from, so your WebAssembly.wasm files can also carry metadata, apparently.
Okay.
So you could do a mapping of the metadata in WASM to this open containers like description like thing and back again. and then maybe even as you're compiling, I don't know, Rust code or something, like take the description from your cargo toml, put it inside of your WebAssembly, and as you encode your WebAssembly to OCI, just carry that through and put it like in the exact like right spot. I don't know.
No, that would make total sense. It would be helpful to have that information in here, if nothing else, other than to clear up these errors. So yeah, if we could find a way to basically to generate this section inside of the manifest.
Yes.
It's probably going to be right here. Could be anywhere in here, but
yeah, I think it's like at the top level somewhere, right?
Yeah,
Next to layers and others.
Yep, like right on top. We could put in between the layers, something like that.
Yep.
Yeah. I like that.
Okay.
That's also where I don't think I have any signed images, but that's where like a signature would go.
Oh, I like that.
Would be in this manifest too as an index.
I do like that. Yeah, cool. Okay. So maybe that's a little what do you call it? Not a to do, but something we can like explore at some point if we want to.
Yeah. A to do would be nice. A future to do.
Yeah. Because like my thinking is like what we want to do with WASM I almost said WASM containers, WASM components, is probably make them as accessible and usable as containers are today. I think that should be like the first like degree of, or the first sort of milestone standard that we should like aim for. Obviously we might even like want to go further and like make it even more, like improve on everything we've learned from containers and be like, okay, no, we're going to like make it even better. But a first milestone is chief parity, and this could be part of it. Like add a description, add a license.
Because I think it's a good mental model to borrow, because it's going to be relatively the same. Deploying a component, deploying a container, assuming you have a runtime. A container can't just be deployed anywhere. It has to be deployed somewhere with a runtime. Same thing with a component.
Correct.
But like with the web clippy, it runs very similar to what a container would do. Like you just deployed it, and the runtime knows how to execute it, and then you can interact with it through ports, through HTTP in that instance. So yeah, it's a good mental model to use.
All right, I like that. Cool. Okay. Yay. Anyway, this came like out of our stream on Friday, and I spent like out of our conversation after that, and I was like, hold on, I should just like file for this. What if we did this? And then people kind of were like, oh,
well, as we're trying to upload the artifact, we could by hand create the annotations and just see, like, update the manifest that's uploaded and see if it works.
I don't see why not. let's do it. Sure. Okay. Yeah. I'm down to build an OCI image if we can figure out how.
Hey, Aaron. Aaron's in the chat, by the way.
Oh, hey.
Let's see here, Aaron.
Hello, Toronto.
Yeah. All right, let's switch screens. Window. Here we go. So we're back in our web clippy. So
web clippy. By the way, I gave you commit rights to the repo.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could either let's try and dabble with the OCI artifact, and then if we've got time, we can work on. I'll work on committing this and getting a dev container spun up, so that way, like all these are nice and automated. So when you can basically open this in a code space or dev container locally, and then everybody could follow along with the project and not have to build individual containers and so forth.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay, so where are some good docs that we should look at? Essentially, we'll take a step back. So what we're going to try to do here, if I share this window quick, is we want this. If we go to WASI, we want to take this component and upload it to, well, now that I have commit rights, I can actually upload that component directly to your WASI Clippy project. But what we want is to upload the component like these are. So if you look at these are WASI.io HTTP. And if you look at the details, it's a WebAssembly thing, right? Like what's WASI? And so if you looked at the container, it'd be a container. So that's a type that's uploaded. If we look at the manifest, if we go into the versions like we did, essentially this is what we'll need. And probably have to use something like ORAS to upload it to the registry.
Yeah. Right now we still need that.
Right. So do we have is there any like a demo or anything we can reference that would talk about those steps, or should we can just kind of figure it out?
Okay, so
Like ORAS upload artifact to OCI registry.
hold on. That's like even one step too far.
Okay.
Okay, so we have our Rust code. So the pipeline is as follows, right? We have our Rust code, which we compile to a WASM component.
True.
Then we have a component in a .wasm extension. Then what we want to do with that is compile it to OCI. I actually don't know what the extension is for OCI. Do you know? .OCI?
It's JSON. It's these container manifests. Manifest, OCI manifest.
I thought a manifest was the metadata, but then are the layers also encoded in it?
The layers are hashed, you can see here.
Yeah.
And then put into the uses digest to talk about them.
Yeah. So that is the metadata describing the layers. Where's the actual data stored? Do you know that?
Alongside the manifest, if I remember correctly.
So is it like a gzip and you get the manifest first or something? Or like a tarball and you get the manifest first? And then
yes,
the
it's
data.
tar. Yep.
Okay.
And then the manifest is in there. So once you take out that, it looks at this and then it'll read layers to figure out how to reconstruct it. I believe that's how it works.
Okay, I don't want to press you. You get to say like, hey, actually, I'm unsure, and then we get to like look.
That's the limit of my knowledge. I mean, we can go look at the
yes.
OCI spec.
Because I don't know how the layers themselves are stored. Like I would imagine it's a tarball, and you know.
Well, do I have that still? So I walked through this. I wonder if it's in my containers from scratch repo. Let me take a look. If not, we can go and kind of backtrack to that.
Oh yeah. I mean, if we don't know, that's also fine. Like
if you want to like mimic the containers, we should probably know that. Let's see here.
Fair enough.
Yeah, this is the one. I mean, it will be useful to know.
Yeah.
Archive, build, extract.
Archive go, create image, file path join. So it's a tar gzip file on line 23.
Yep. And if we look at, so you could take, what was that process? I think it was in Liz Rice's book, Container Security. She walked through, you can take basically any container and pull it down and do what the runtime would do, where you extract out everything. Yeah. So that might be, let's see if we can find those steps. Container security, I think it was chapter 3. Container images, chapter 6. So if we look at here, the container and runtime occurrence point is the OCI tool, like run C, values from the YAML definitions, OCI compliant, config JSON.
Yep, that makes sense.
So if you grab this, this is what will happen. It has the blobs. So this is what's stored in a registry. So here's pulling this image straight from Docker Hub, and it's copying it locally.
Okay, so one dir called blobs, then there's an index.json, and there's an OCI-layout.
Yep.
Blobs, I imagine, is like just the actual like encoded, like, you know, blob data.
And then you can unpack it, and then it becomes the root file system with the layers, and then the JSON. This is another mapping of the JSON. And then if you were to look at the unpacked, you would actually have your file system. But that takes all the layers and rebuilds them for you. So like each layer. Yeah, go ahead.
So in components, I don't think we would do an unpacking, right?
It depends. No, because if you had one component, there would just be one layer. So that would be the only thing you'd be unpacking. So if you look at a file, like a container file system, if you look at each, let me just pull that up. so you can see it. Well, each what are they called? Instruction set, like run and copy, those will generate layers. So like let's say that we started from a Ubuntu file system and it looks like this. And then we had copy readme.txt to, /app or whatever. As far as what you would see in the layers is you would see one at the bottom for the operating system, like this root file system, the root FS. And then the next layer would just contain the README. And then the config, that index.json is going to tell it where it goes. So then when you go to unpack, it flattens them all into a single file system.
Yeah. So where I'm a little like, I wonder how this is exactly different. By the way, I'll send you the link for the actual component.
But since the component is theoretically going to be a single layer, we won't have to worry about that too much.
Yeah, where I'm sort of like I still have like a question mark in my mind. It's because containers work with file system images, and you're meant to mount that entire image. Components are more like freestanding executables. They're completely self-contained. So you can connect multiple components, but they're all like hermetic sort of by definition. And so the notion of a file system no longer really applies, though I could see it be reused.
Layers. So layers are just going to be used differently.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Or I think they should be a little a little more. Okay, they do explode components, they say.
Have a single layer consisting of composed components. However, this is explicitly called out as we expect to be storing exploded components in order to reuse share layers.
Okay.
When exploded components are stored as layers, they must use content hash importing, but this is not officially part of the spec yet. If a customer sees more than one layer for this version of the spec, they should reject it.
So okay. OCI images right now can only contain a single layer. Am I reading that right?
That's what I'm taking from it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so it really is leaning into all of your components. Like, we're not doing composition yet. We are doing singular components per OCI image, which makes sense to me.
A single layer media type. Okay, that makes total sense. Of application WASM has been chosen as a component can be both a library and an executable, and so we don't need to indicate a difference between components. In addition, a component can always be recomposed into another type, although out of scope. This does allow for potential browser support in the future, since browsers only support application WASM. Okay, so this is an example of the manifest format, which we saw here.
Yes.
And then the config media type, application vendor, WASM config, v0 plus JSON. The configuration provides the ability to quickly identify imports, exports. Okay, so this is where you would describe your component. It's bindings, like the what bindings? Okay. Or worlds. That was the keyword that tipped me off. That are used by the component by specifying imports and exports, so it can ensure a runtime and validate that the component has all the layers required to satisfy the export. Okay.
So my understanding is for components, we can also just upload the metadata. So what you see when we pull down, say, WASI HTTP, that is just a type system essentially, right? Or you say here's imports, here's exports, go ham. And I think that the way they do it is they just populate the component field, but they don't populate the layers field because it doesn't actually contain any layers itself. So it just says like, here's the type system.
Gotcha. So maybe we could, no current implementation, but the following projects have interest. Okay, there's that run WASI spin. Well, that's how it
Spin has support for it. Actually, it landed
Okay.
it. I think Wasm Cloud might actually as well these days. Anyway, yeah.
So I wonder if we don't, what do we probably need both of these files. And so we could write them by hand to describe our component and then try to figure out how to use ORAS to upload it to GHCR.
Oh, that's what you're doing.
I'm just trying to figure out like, how do we get it there? And then we could figure out, we could probably some tooling exists, but we would at least have a better idea of how to use the tooling. But yeah, we could probably, if you look at a container,
no, I like it. Yeah. Let's do that. Okay. Here's what I was thinking, and we're not going to do that. We're going to do what you just suggested.
Okay.
I thought we should try out whatever like tooling exists out there and make that work because that's the tooling we're supposed to use, right? What you're suggesting is like, what if we didn't do that? What if we just did it by hand? It's just a JSON file, Yosh. And I'm like, yeah, hey, you know what? Great point. It is just a JSON file. We can just write that by hand. We can use tar and gzip together. Let's. Yeah, I like it.
Okay, so let's start with can we first, how do we pull this down to see what it looks like? I know ours is going to be different, but I want to see what it looks like after we've, here, Docker pull. Let me switch my screen because I want to know what it looks like and see.
If you have ORAS, I believe that might work better, but I don't know for sure.
Well, we might be able to unpack it with ORAS, but let's see here, window.
I mean, if I'm understanding it right, we might be able to unpack it with tar and gzip.
Yes, should be able to. We'll see here. Because I imagine this is just going to pull it down as a Docker or something, but we'll figure it out. Oh, I need to start Docker.
I like this. We're demystifying.
It's a blessing, a curse. It's the only way I actually learn things is just completely. I guess first principles might be a better, like, general term, but it takes more time. It takes more time. For an example, I was sudo. I was working on. I've always been baffled by bitwise operations. Like I just don't really understand them. I've had to use them here or there, but they kept popping up, and I ended up to understand it. I usually use writing. Write to Learn is a really good book. If you haven't read it, it's from like the 1980s.
What's it called?
Writing to Learn.
Okay.
And the whole premise is writing and putting your thoughts down linearly will help you learn. Teaching is learning. It's a very similar principle. But I ended up I started like a new newsletter called Skill Issues. I didn't publish any of this, but this is just how my mind works. I went and started a new Substack newsletter, and I started writing a post like WTF is bitwise operations, like wrote an introduction to the problem. And then I started like outlining like what's the X or the and, like went through all of it. And then I started, how I learned is to solve problems with the thing and not just like, oh, this operation turns this bits and flips this way, like most of the literature that you see there. I started instead with a question that you could solve with it or a problem. So find the first one for an and operation was find a network ID or a network address from a subnet and an IP address. So like do the base 10 to base 2 conversion and then use an and operation to find the mask, because if 1 and 1 match, it's going to give you a 1. If they don't, then it won't. So that'll give you the network address, and that actually made it click for me. But I had to go through all the steps of like, if I were to write something and publish it, to actually really learn the thing.
No, I do like that. Actually, it's funny. Like I did a very similar project Or I did something very similar like years ago as I was like learning how to like program. I made this like repo called knowledge. And as I was learning things, I would just like keep adding to it.
Mm.
And it became like this sort of interactive wiki, which is it's not the same as a Substack or like a news or like a directing at something, but you know, it's still like the process of writing to like learn stuff. I like that. I didn't realize there was a book for it. That's awesome.
It's a very effective. Let's see here. I started one for Go about 2 years ago when I started learning it.
Mhm.
I called it the Golang notebook. It's had many names since then. And I haven't pushed my latest changes, but if we look at main here, I'll share it with chat just in case anybody's curious. I've got stuff in there like when I ventured into like learning about templates and linked lists, and I read grokking algorithms and converted all their Python examples to Go, like binary search and all that
Oh,
jazz.
fun.
So I did a very similar thing.
That's cool.
That's the most effective. Because writing the blog posts and polishing the writing.
Oh yeah.
60% of that effort is just around the polishing and like making it more consumable, and the learning is in the other 40%. So you can learn faster if you don't carry it through all those iterations of publication. But here we got an error.
Yes.
Unsupported media type application vendor.
Yeah. Okay, good. So
let's
Docker says, I don't know how to run this, so I'm not even going to pull it.
Well, first let's figure out how do we install ORAS. Install. It's just a command line tool.
Yeah. I'm on Mac, and it was brew install ORAS.
Oh, your simple brew operations.
Yeah. Hey, you've got a Win package. The Windows.
I do, but I'm in WSL.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see.
It's sort of like unintuitively like apt sometimes tends to be worse these days because it isn't like centralized or something.
Yeah. Let's see here. They've got some nice curl commands, so let's go through
okay,
this.
Perfect. Hell yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're just downloading the binary, extracting it to the bin.
Okay. In any other context, extracting something to the bin sounds like a euphemism for throwing something away.
But except for it's the most useful directory now because I don't have to find the executable.
That's right.
Okay, so now we have the ORAS tool. I bet we'll be able to pull it down this way. So if you look at the ORAS help, we have pull. So pull -- help.
Yes.
Any examples? Localhost. So we can just give it a.
Yeah, we can give it a GHCR thing. I think you might need to log in unless this is publicly accessible, which I don't think it is.
I wonder if it shares the Docker. There's login.
Oh, yeah. Since you're logged into Docker, it might.
Login, repository name.
What if you just try a pull?
Well, yeah, it should allow anonymous pull, so I probably don't need to. Let's see here. Let me go back and get the URL. If I can select the right window and not click a billion things. Here. I do want them to implement all the copy boxes. If you just select a portion of it, it seems to still copy the full thing. Have you noticed that?
Wait.
Oh, never mind. It worked. Never mind. I'm just complaining.
Oh, hold on. You've got your browser window open, but I'm still only seeing your terminal.
Yeah, I just copied it in. I was just looking for the URL.
I see.
So let's see if we can pull.
So you were talking about copy boxes, and I was like, I'm not seeing any copy boxes on your like terminal. Like what? It's like, yeah, no.
Access denied.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I had to log in for this to work.
That's strange.
I know.
Well, they should. Maybe that's another issue. Like make these packages public.
Yeah. I'll talk. I'm talking to the package owner tomorrow. I'll bring it up.
Yeah, bring it up. Why doesn't this allow anonymous pull?
Yes.
Okay, so let's log in. I think I might have to create a token for that again.
Yeah.
So one moment. Settings. Well, you just had to log into GHCR generally, or did you
Yeah.
actually have to authenticate to that WASI repository if you have permissions?
No, just generally. I created
Okay.
a token for my entire like GitHub thing.
Okay.
Gave it a read access, read and write access to packages.
Okay. I'll do the same then. There we go. WASI 30 days. Okay, that should work. Okay, let me stop sharing for just a second so I can.
Sure. I believe the -u, if you do the login, -u is like username, -p for the thing, and then you give the URL.
Okay.
I'll look at my history actually. Ooh, yeah, no, I got it off the top of my head.
Oh, I need to add the repository.
Oh, to ORS login? No.
Yep. Yeah, well, to the Docker login.
Oh, okay.
So let's just let's see if it works now. Okay, it did.
Yeah.
So let me clear.
You said you're logged in?
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out how to clear like the last 10.
Oh, so you
From
don't show your
history?
history command?
Yeah, history.
Just type ls 15 times and that's also cleared.
Is that a cheat code, like power up?
Oh no, I mean like if you want to flush a cache or like a buffer, just you can fill the buffer. You can either clear the buffer explicitly or just fill it with something else.
Oh, I see. Depends on how long your buffer is, though. How
Yeah,
long's
but you
mine go?
you said 10 and I was like tap 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 done.
Okay, I got it. Let me share
Okay.
the screen again.
Yeah, okay, cool. What was the command, by the way?
It was, or I'll just, that should be in my history.
Mm.
No, it actually isn't. History -d 10-1. We're counting backwards. So last 10 from counting backwards. What did Aaron say? Visual Studio Code has been my favorite across platform for a long time now. Terminal editor area. Let's see here. That was from 3 minutes ago.
What were we talking about?
I don't know.
Aaron, I appreciate you. Thank you for your comment. I have no idea what this was in response to.
So I wanted to do the ORAS poll and then the component to take a look at it. Where did that go? There it is. So this worked after I logged in. For some reason, we had to authenticate to GHCR, just authenticate that we're a user of it. Poll. Doesn't like that.
Just
so here we go. We got it.
Poll. Hell yeah. Okay.
Now, where did it put these things?
Wait, do we have 2 layers?
Yes.
I thought we could only have a single layer.
Well, maybe there's a single layer and then, so we have the application. I assume that's the layer, the component itself. And then we have the JSON config, and then we have the image manifest. So those are just 3 different artifacts.
Okay.
So is there like a images command or like list manifest?
Where did it pull it to?
That's where I'm curious. Like, where did it put these files? To pull all layers. OCI layout. Let's do that. So if we add to OCI layout, it's going to give us those 3 things.
Cool. And then you give it a dir, right?
Yes, you're correct. So should I create? Let's do this.
Yes.
And now I want to add probably here 2 OCI layers.
Mm-hmm.
And then I need a directory, which would be OCI layers, unknown flag.
I think you need to give it after, maybe.
Okay.
Potentially. I don't know.
Nope. And there we go. What does it say? Use ORAS copy. Oh, okay. It gives us the whole command here. Copy. It's a copy command instead of pull. So you have to pull, then copy.
Wait, who says that?
Right here. It says use ORAS copy, and then it gives us the image that we just pulled down. And then we have to do this command here. And if you look, there's a CP command to it. So it's a separate command. OCI layers.
Oh, okay.
So now if we look in Explorer,
we have
our blobs.
I love that.
So this is what we need to recreate. We need a blobs, essentially this, because I bet there's a command to compress.
Format this JSON thing?
Yeah.
If you save it, does it auto format it?
I think you have to. Isn't there a format document? There we go.
Hey, okay.
Ingest. So let me minimize terminal quick.
Yeah. Okay, so what are we looking at?
This is the index JSON.
Uh-huh.
Which is, if we look at, would that be called? Where was that document that you said? Here it is. Would probably be the config, or would it be?
Oh, okay. So if we look at it, it has a key named manifests that points us to the individual manifests.
So this is the manifest index. So if we open up this digest, so that's
a hash of the, let's say SHA-256 or something.
Yeah. So how do we? Well, let's format this. Here's the actual manifest. Perfect. So this is just the index that points to all the art. Basically lays out. This is the OCI layout index. So this is telling us this whole thing, this whole OCR artifact. Here's its top level config file.
Yep.
And then this, which is equal to this hash here.
Yeah.
Right? So the digest is this.
Wait, is it?
I don't know. Let's map this out. Let's see here. We've got,
because it's referred to by blob, probably content storage. Content addressable storage. Is there one that actually starts with what is said there? B44.
B44.
No, that's a file below that.
This is this one.
That's one.
Oh.
Yeah. And this one points to 5A. And then 5A, I assume, points to X0C.
Let's map. So it starts here.
Okay.
This points to this one.
Okay. Index JSON points to B4.
Yep. And then B4 has...
Oh, it has a one, which is the config, which is ADC. And then the layers, which is 5A. So it points to 2.
Okay. So the config, this is the config down here. This is, got it. So this is the config media type. the wasm config, and then the image manifest format. The image manifest is this, and this is the OCI manifest. So OCI manifest, component manifest,
Yes.
configuration. This is the configuration JSON for the component.
Okay.
And that makes sense because here's the exports. So we're going to need these three things. Okay.
What is configuration though?
So configuration was the, if you looked here, I'll share this.
Oh, the configuration provides the ability to quickly identify imports, exports, or worlds that are used by the component. Oh, yes. Okay. I remember.
Here's the link to that.
I've been people have explained to me what this is. So
do tell.
You don't technically need the configuration file. All of the information inside of the configuration file is already present within the actual component you're uploading, supposedly, right? Because if you encode a component, maybe not in this case, but like in general, right? If you have a layer and it's a component, then it contains all of the information about the component within itself already. This is mostly for registries and other tooling. So you don't need to like unpack your components themselves. In our case, it's like 2 megabytes, right? But you could have a component that's a gig or several gigs, like that is allowed, right? You don't know that. You don't want to like unpack all of that to like know what does this thing import and export. So we duplicate the signatures into like this separate config. So you know like what does this plug into? What does it need? What does it like output? And it's an actual like error if your component, the actual component, and this do not map. And I think this has a nice benefit where if you don't actually submit any layers, you can still be like, well, here's just a canonical mapping of just the WIT document itself. Sorry.
No, that makes total sense because the configuration is for containers would also be used for like permissions on it. Like runtime config might be in there. I think I'm positive that's where it's at. It's all in here.
And so it also means that, for example, something like, GHCR could just take the config and be like, hey, we know what a component is. We are going to render the type system, because all they need to do is like look at this JSON, be like, oh, here's the imports, here's the exports. Now we'll do like a pretty rendering of essentially what is a WIT document. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So run WASI. I guess the next step would be to recreate these files for our component.
Yes. Oh, that's actually like a little bit of work because we're doing multiple levels of digests.
Let's see here, digest. We'll figure it out. We'll try at least. File,
sure.
Index JSON. We need that.
Uh-huh.
And we need, what would these be called? This is the config JSON. And then we would need, I'm trying to remember the proper term. I believe it's just the manifest JSON.
I believe so.
Manifest. Okay. We'll just close those for now. I kind of want to take a look at these a little bit closer. So this, going off the document that you shared before, that's titled WASM OCI Artifact Layout.
Yeah.
Let me just put a new link to that. I think I've shared it a couple times, but that's what I'm looking at right now.
Yes.
In comparison to this. So put you up there. This has the schema. The schema is actually, schema's down here. It's got the media type that matches. So this is the OCI image manifest. And then we have our config. And that config block, v1, first version of the spec does not imply instability. Okay, that's just a comment that was in the page. We have our media type, size, and digest. Size, I don't know what that size correlates to.
Size in bytes, I assume.
Potentially. And then this digest. So we determined that this points to the config.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Well, that makes sense. Config block. Where's the rest of our config? It's here. So that's probably the size of the config and the type of it. Okay, that makes sense. So here's config. And then here's our layers. This is the actual component itself. And so if we looked at 5, that's the one that we can't render because it's probably, what do we think that is? Could we uncompile that component?
Does it say it's just layers, right?
Yeah. I bet it's a unnamed archive or tar archive. Could be both.
Yeah, let's what happens if we what just happens if we like run through like tar?
Sure. Do you know the switches?
No. tar dash whatever.
Extract archive.
Oh yeah, dash X is extract.
XF. Is that right?
XCF? Yeah. Try that. Sure.
It's not named tar. I wonder, could we find out what type it
No,
is?
it is
there a bash?
You could just try it.
Okay, all right. So OCI layers, where am I at? Blobs.
Yep.
SHA. 5A. Is there another 5A5?
Wait, did you do it under SHA? No. Oh, it is under SHA. Wait.
Blobs, SHA. Yeah.
What's present here if you just autocomplete it?
It wouldn't give me anything.
Anything.
Let's see. Yes. So CD, OCI, layers, blobs, SHA. So it's here.
It is here.
So tar. This does not look like a tar. Is there a bash command to tell you what type of file something is?
What's the
Find file type?
Hold on. We can dump out the. Oh yeah, there probably is. But even better is if you like just dump the hex out and look at the magic numbers. Hey, that's just JSON.
Yeah.
Hey, that's just a JSON file. Oh no, I bet that's just wit. That's just
the wit.
Yeah, take a wasm tools.
Binary. Okay.
Almost certainly that's yeah. Look at the can we do a hex dump? You'll see magic numbers here.
Okay.
What's the hex dump command? Oh, it's just called hex dump or HD.
Do I have that? Yeah, okay. So just of the file?
Yeah. And then I don't know, pipe it at the head or something.
Like that?
Oh no, an actual pipe.
Oh, a pipe. Okay. Like that?
Yeah. Just that. There you go. There. It starts with null and then asm. And that I think is the magic, the magic numbers that identify the file type of a binary file. In this case, probably wasm.
Okay. So if I put .wasm on it?
I don't know. Just try and put this into like wasm tools.
Do I have wasm tools?
Probably. I would have told you to install it. Wasm-tools.
I might have them on my other instance. Install wasm tools. Oh, it's in our container that we did.
Cargo install wasm-tools.
Okay, cargo install.
And then I think the component command. Oh yeah, and then wit.
Oh, it's wasm. We got some chat. We got some tar commands too.
Isn't it a wasm file? It's wasm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't it? It's WASM.
There we go.
I love the conversation that I need to monitor that. Which, well, I wonder how we can get it to display the chat on the screen so I can see that.
Oh yeah, that would
but
be
it's
good.
like maybe that's a crazy idea too. It's like use this command. Maybe it's WASM. It's definitely WASM.
Yes.
Well, that's interesting. So I wonder in the container, it's definitely, well, it's much larger. So it does want to, you would want to archive it and compress it. Where the component itself is much smaller. So you probably don't. So let's see what this command would do.
So wasm-tools.
Tar, 1 second.
Oh.
C for the tar.
Uh-huh.
It's not auto completing. Oh, I changed directories because I'm in a new shell.
OCI what are you trying to do?
The command that was in chat. Tar CZF. I'm just curious what that does. Blobs. That's for compressing. Okay. All right. What do you want to do with WASM tools?
Oh, yeah. So type out WASM tools. Okay. Or WASM-tools. yes. Component. And then, what was the next one? Wit. And then point at the file.
Okay.
There you go. Hey. Okay. So what's happening here is we take the actual WASM document with all of the comments and everything. We stick that in the layer and we say like, here's the WASM thing, right? Encode as a WASM component. Then in the config, we then copy the types that are in there and we say like, oh, here's the imports, here's the exports. There's no actual runtime logic happening. It's just types. But that's a valid representation. And then in our manifest, we just point back at it and we have the second manifest pointing at it. And that accounts for all 4 files.
Okay, so what could we do to turn our compiled component into the format that this is right here, this 5A5, whatever this is?
So with
or are they already the same format?
Yeah, they are
just
already.
without a file extension.
Correct.
It is. Okay.
Yeah.
So if I were to have done that, these are the same actually.
That is a .wasm file.
Okay. Good to know. So we just need to name it without .wasm.
Yeah, we can probably call it component.wasm or I don't know, world.wasm. Technically it's no, I guess it's .wasm. It's wit encoded as wasm.
Okay, wit encoded as wasm. Okay.
Yes. And so yeah, we just do that for the pure types, and then we take it, and then we're going to do something a little bit more spicy with our version because we're actually taking like,
not just a
runtime application. Correct.
Okay.
But
I know we wanted to leave a couple minutes for chatting, and we're
yeah.
We're already 3 minutes too.
Yep. We're just about at time.
I just wanted to give a shout out to Craze because I am super grateful for people in chat that help me struggle through my lack of untarring things in Bash.
Yes.
Bash knowledge. Super grateful to that. Well, I think that's a good place where we can pause and we can bring that back up. This is really fun for me to dive into this stuff, learning a lot.
Yeah, me too. Like I've known sort of abstractly of like, oh yeah, we can take a component and code it as WASM, but then to go through the motions of manually unpacking it, and then hopefully on Friday, like in reverse, packing up our own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool.
Because once we figure out the pattern of like what we need to do, I'm sure some tooling exists, but at least we'll have some idea, and maybe we can even work on some tooling to help make that easier. Because there's a lot of good tools for containers where you just point it at, whatever it is. A lot of your build tools actually just do that for you. They handle all the configuration and whatnot.
So tools for that exist already. It's more like if we want to go through the motions, we can go through the motions. That might be kind of valuable. Who knows?
I think, it's super valuable to know what all these files are doing when you run those commands. So,
but yeah, for sure. Let's spend some time encoding this on Friday.
Yeah. Well, I think you should show off your cat cam before.
Oh,
before we
well, there's no cat. There's no cat. So
I know. But you got
okay,
your
yeah,
notebook.
fine. Yes. Okay, everyone, check it out. I was very proud of this. I now have a cat cam. My cat naps here, so whenever there's a cat, I can like point at that cat, and then you can see. Which, yeah.
and if not, you can show off your 60% keyboard.
Yeah,
so
that's right. Behold. Also, yeah, my empty coffee cup and like whatever else is happening.
I got a late minute or last minute Father's Day gift because I've been talking about wanting to get. I drink too much caffeine. Is the backstory here, and so I've been wanting to get more into tea with less caffeine.
Oh, right.
And so I was gifted a very fancy ceramic mug with a little wooden handle and a couple new fancy teas to try out. So that'll be my afternoon treat. So that would be the coffee mug you'll see this afternoon if I had a cat cam, which I don't, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, I think the dream is like to have like 6 different camera angles so you can like rotate.
I need to work on my lighting. I feel like,
oh yeah.
But what do you do? What do you do?
I mean, you can add. I like lighting. I don't know. I've got like too many like lighting things here in my office.
I've moved to the basement, so I don't have as much light as I used to.
Yes.
Which, some advice for people: don't give up your home office if you have an opportunity.
Oh no!
I miss the door. I have some regrets. Yep. My daughter is too sneaky to just not have a door. She scared me on our last team call. I have a green screen behind me that you can't see, obviously, blanking out. But she snuck behind the screen, which is right behind my chair, and popped out over here in the middle of me talking, and it scared me half to death. All I heard was like this like faint little like, "Dad."
Oh no. That's not okay.
The worst was she has these dolls. And we could probably end it at this. This is a funny story. I think people will enjoy. I was home alone. My wife was out with the kids, like a doctor's appointment or something. And I was just going upstairs. I was grabbing a sweatshirt, I think. And I went to go use our master bathroom. And just the, like the light over the tub where it's dim was on. And I look over there and there's these 2 things about 2 feet tall.
Yeah.
Just staring at you in the doorway with the door half shut. And it was 2 of her dolls. Dolls are the creepiest thing to me.
No,
left alone.
Okay.
Not okay.
I mean, children can't buy their own dolls that, as a parent, you provide the dolls. Was there ever an option to not provide the dolls?
Not for her. She loves little dolls. The more funny story is my great grandma. She used to make like the really creepy porcelain dolls.
Oh no.
And so she had this back room. The biggest room in her house was just all these dolls that she'd made. And she's almost 100 years old now. This was probably when she was earlier 90s or a little bit, maybe in her late 80s. And my brothers and I would dare each other to go into that room when it was all dark. That was our dare because it was so creepy.
I'm not good with like horror movies or anything like that. I just no.
Yeah.
So you're being like, yeah, here's like 3 horror things. I'm like, I'm glad I live in.
That's just real life,
well-lit apartment.
I'll stay in the light. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Like all of these lamps here are not an accident.
Well, that's funny. Well, I guess that's enough personal stories for me. I think next time, we'll dive back into this. We'll try to continue reconstructing our OCI compliant OCI artifact, and see if we can upload it. And then we can dive into the tooling there. We're making good progress. I mean, we started with just kind of building a component, and now we were able to get it pushed to registries and pulled down.
Yes.
I'm excited to get to the final leg of the journey, which will be the various places we can deploy them. But we'll get there. We're making good progress.
I mean, if we want to, we can just sort of put it on container apps already. There's nothing stopping us.
That's true. In a container form, we could.
Yeah, but happy to. I like the branching paths. Choose your own adventure.
Exactly. All right. Well, we'll probably just keep rambling. So we'll end the stream here. I think next time we should bake some time in just for chat. and welcome people to come and chat and stuff like that. But yeah, thank you
Absolutely.
for the people that are watching and joining, and we'll be back Friday morning my time, Friday in the afternoon for you.
That's
So
right.
take a look for that on the AKS community channel, and thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. See you, Yash. See everybody else in the chat.
Bye.